hours as Egypt welcomed the UN Security Council resolution supporting a deal reaching a comprehensive and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, exchanging prisoners and detainees, the full withdrawal of the Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip, and the safe return of displaced Palestinian citizens to their homes in the various areas from the Strip. Egypt also urged all the parties to finalize the proposed deal endorsed by the resolution. The resolution also called for ensuring all access to humanitarian aid that meets the need of the population in the Gaza Strip. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science. Dr. Wagih, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Doctor, how do you see the UN Security Council resolution supporting a deal on reaching a comprehensive and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip after 250 days of the Gaza war?
Of course, it is considered to be a diplomatic shift in the right direction. It gives all of us a hope that there will be an end to this terrible war with a lot of killing, a lot of destruction, a lot of terrible inhumane events that's taking place every day. So I hope that this is a very hopeful diplomacy. But of course, as you have seen, the Security Council have already issued several resolutions. And the point about implementation with capital I is very important. How can the world community, the mediators and the parties involved will cooperate to get it done, to achieve what was mentioned in the resolution, what was mentioned in Biden's initiative, which already, by the way, it is on Egyptian and Israeli, and everybody is agreeing on the general points now, and I hope that there is a way for answering the unanswered questions.
Yes, sir. Dr. Egypt also called on both Israel and Hamas to take serious steps towards completing this deal as soon as possible, to start implementing its terms without any delays or conditions, according to the statements. How do you see that, and do you believe that actually a deal could be reached, and that would be soon, as the people in the Gaza Strip are still suffering from very alarming humanitarian conditions?
Yeah, you remember this proverb in English, between the devil and the deep blue sea. You know, we have the dilemma of trust and cooperation. We would like to have, all of us would like to have an end to this bloody war. But again, the dilemma of trust and cooperation was not addressed in the initiative as it should be. Actually, there is a way to put pressure to end this war. But how could you go about that? It's also unanswered question so far.
What are the serious steps, Dr. Wagih, that you are expected that it would be taken after the Jordanian conference for the humanitarian situation in Gaza?
Yes, of course, these are all good diplomatic moves in the right direction. I hope it would work out, of course, and every fair-minded person would hope that this would work out for saving the Palestinians who are really suffering from terrible war, a lot of killing, hunger, destruction of everything around them. But again, the problem is with the hidden agenda and dilemma of trust and cooperation. Like when you have now the agenda that was expressed by Netanyahu, that he has to have a total victory, gives no room for hope when it comes to the idea that it needs some political imagination, even for the Israelis themselves. There is nothing like total victory in anyone. There is a party and another party, and the parties are supposed to not cancel each other, but try to come to a middle-in-the-road solution, and no one can be able to eradicate, and this mentality, zero-sum mentality, will never come out with good results for anyone.
Doctor, also in recent days, the Israeli side witnessed many resignations from the war cabinet. To what extent do these resignations form pressure on Israel to accept the ceasefire and to change stance regarding the war on the Gaza Strip?
Yes, of course, this could help. But, you know, if someone would like to have an indefinite war, yes, you can escape to another war when it comes to Lebanon. And the escalation that is taking place now in the north, or what we call it, the Israeli-Lebanese border. And I would like to tell you that it is very important that whenever you have this war mentality and you think that war can combine people inside and make them one, so you continue going for an indefinite war, I don't think this is a right policy, and it will not work out.
Yes, but sir, how do you see this war policy, as you have just kindly mentioned, inside the Israeli government? Why this rigid and strange mentality, even with the division inside the war cabinet? How do you see these different stances even inside the Israeli cabinet?
Yes, what is happening with the Israeli cabinet and what's happening inside Israel is very related also to some, let us say that there are extremist governments, and extremism has already spread all over many sectors. And when it comes to playing on the chord of this process and this religiosity, which is very, very, very high, I don't think that there is a way out of that, and God help us all.
Sir, also given the UNSCC's commitment to the principles of the two-state solution, in accordance with the decisions of the international legitimacy stated in the resolution, Egypt actually affirmed the necessity of taking serious action by the international parties to find the political horizon for implementing the two-state solution. Can actually these parties guarantee a radical solution to the crisis and support this pillar of stability and coexistence in the region? Is a two-state solution a possibility on the ground now?
Actually, the Biden's proposal or initiatives, or sometimes they say it, whatever you call it, anyway, it has 3 phases. And the good thing about it is that it has in the 3rd phase reconstruction of Gaza, schools, all living aspects of life will be rebuilt. Palestinians should come back to their places. But they stressed also the two-state solution. Let us be hopeful about that, because this is a consensus all over the world. The problem is that we did not listen or heard from any Israeli officials the agreement on the two-state solution, unless some opposition parties are considering that, some elements in Israel are considering that, but they are few. The main leadership, they fronted the whole world with no word about the two-state solution or agreeing on having a state for the Palestinians. And this is lies the problem, and here there should be some pressure to be exerted by Biden's initiative, because the initiative adopts this two-state solution. The entire world is adopting now this two-state solution. Egypt has calling for that for a long time, of course.
Indeed. Sir, on Monday, the Security Council adopted a U.S.-sponsored resolution aimed at supporting a U.S.-backed ceasefire plan for Gaza within 14-0 votes and 1 abstention from Russia. The plan was announced by President Joe Biden late in May and enjoyed global support later. How do you evaluate the Russian stance toward the resolution, given the Ukrainian who are trying to gain international assistance in its war with Russia?
Actually, when it comes to the Russian attitude, the Russians expressed their concern about the point that there is no answering of many vital and core questions. But the Russian defense was so wise, so they abstained from voting, and they did not object to that or use veto on that. So they let the resolution to go, but they expressed after the resolution came out their reservation, which is legitimate reservation, by the way, and you know, a lot of details need to be addressed, and the proposal itself is very scant. Of course, it's very it sounds good, it sounds flimsy, it sounds very good, but no details for the main points, and no details about addressing a very important thing in the Arab-Israeli conflict, especially in what's happening today, is what I said about the dilemma of trust and cooperation. Diplomats and the negotiators should pay keen interest to see how to go about this, especially when you are in an atmosphere where 30,000 people were killed, 80,000 was wounded, everything is being distracted. So the dilemma of trust and cooperation is so big now.
Yes.
So diplomats and the negotiators from all over the world should try to seek ways to handle this specific issue. Because with no, if you don't deal with this, everything is being mistrusted and nobody is going to implement anything. And again, when it comes to the Russian, as your question, yes, the Hamas also put their demands, they expected guarantees from Russia, China, and that was rejected by Israel. Unfortunately, the people try to guarantee what is happening and to guarantee that everything would go right. Yeah. But again, you have the other party is having reservations. So again, this is a dilemma of trust and cooperation, and it should be dealt with.
Yes. Sir, actually last week, Hamas official Osama Hamdan requested the mediators to ensure Israeli commitment to a permanent ceasefire and withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip as a prerequisite for approving the deal. How do you see the Arab gathering in support of recognizing Palestine as part of concrete plan leading to international conference involving all parties' commitment to the two-state solution, to a complete ceasefire, to a start of reaching a peace deal between Hamas and Israel?
Again, Egypt has been exerting all efforts, all diplomatic efforts in that direction, and with the Arab countries also. But again, the point is that you need more of a strategic patience and more of strategic moves and deeper diplomacy that would handle the problems that really embedded in this file. This file is so complicated and it needs out-of-the-box solutions, and it needs also courageous stances to delve into the right roadmap for a real good solution.
Sir, the U.S. top diplomat Antony Blinken was in Middle East tour. Again, one of his tours to try to find a solution for the situation, to try to find a way with the mediators here in the region, and he ended his trip by visit to Doha. How do you see this visit? And we have seen multiple visits by the U.S. Top diplomat, and yet nothing concrete on the ground. How do you see the U.S. reaction till this moment from the war, the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip, and yet nothing reached on the ground?
Because I think that much of that is directed to inside the United States and for the election purpose. And again, President Biden said, we are here for intensive diplomacy.
Yes.
But intensive diplomacy is not to go for a shuttle trip like that.
Yes.
It needs pressure, real good pressure. And America is an involved party, and America has cards, and the American can put pressure to implement its own roadmap and its own resolution now.
Yes, sir. Yet, we have to mention here that we are just a few months away from the American elections. To what extent that could change scenarios and could affect the situation here in the Middle East region and affect the Israeli war on the Gaza Strip?
Of course it has implications. And I have heard that some of the analysts said
yes.
that Netanyahu wants the war till the end of elections, till another favorable American president would come to his total victory, as they say. So, of course, elections has a role here to be addressed when it comes to what's happening in the Middle East. And I think that continuation of the war till the new president is crazy agenda, and nobody can accept that, and everything could go out of hand. And you know, this is a very problematic way of thinking. Narrow-minded agendas may lead to escalation of the whole situation in the whole area. Unfortunately, no one is hoping for that. Egypt is very careful that this will not happen, and all the Arab countries also agree with Egypt on that. But again, things could go out of context.
Yes. In relation with what you have just mentioned, Dr. Wagih, how to prevent the regional and international security risks posed by the conflict from spilling over?
Of course, the situation, let me tell you, to be very frank, when someone like Amr Moussa, who is our good figure in foreign policy, and who said that he's not very optimistic about what's happening, and I think that there should be some kind of, I agree with anyone who would say this is in the hands of the United States, because the United States has the power to exert and to stop this from going out of the context, and it will never be for the interest of anyone in the area and in the world, of course.
Indeed. Dr. Hassan Wagih, our professor of political science, thank you so much, sir, for being with us and for your very important feedbacks. Thank you so much, Dr. Wagih. Our dear viewers, now we'll go to a short break, and after that, we'll be back to continue our segments in the breakfast show, so stay tuned.